the quiet veteran under the dim streetlights of Memphis, Tennessee, an old man shuffled along Beale Street, his worn boots scuffing the pavement. Zeke Thompson, 73, carried a faded army duffel bag, his gray hair tucked under a Vietnam veteran cap. His brown skin creased with years of service and struggle, but his eyes held a quiet strength. It was 9 p.m., and the blues bars hummed faintly. Zeke, a retired sergeant, was heading home after visiting his late wife's grave. He didn't notice the police cruiser idling nearby. Two officers, rookie Kyle Brennan and veteran Mark Tate, watched him. "Looks suspicious," Brennan muttered, eyeing Zeke's bag. "Let's check him out," Tate agreed, adjusting his belt. They pulled over, lights flashing. "Sir, stop right there," Brennan called, voice sharp. Zeke paused, turning slowly, hands visible. "Evening, officers. Just heading home." "ID and bag," Tate demanded, stepping closer. Zeke complied, handing over a worn veteran's ID. "What's in the bag?" Brennan asked, unzipping it without permission. Inside were flowers, a photo of Zeke's wife, and a folded flag. "This don't add up," Brennan said, misreading Zeke's calm as defiance. "You're coming with us." "For what?" Zeke asked, voice steady but tired. Tate smirked. "Loitering, maybe vagrancy. We'll figure it out." Handcuffs clicked. Zeke didn't resist, but his gaze hardened. At the station, they booked him, ignoring his calm explanation. "You'll regret this," Zeke said softly, sitting in the cell. Brennan laughed, tossing the ID aside. 30 minutes later, the station's phone rang. "FBI, Memphis Field Office," the voice said. The air shifted. Something big was coming. The Memphis police station buzzed with late-night routine, officers typing reports, a coffee machine gurgling. Ezekiel Thompson sat in a holding cell, his veteran cap on the bench beside him. His weathered hands rested calmly on his knees, but his mind replayed decades of service, Vietnam jungles, Bronze Star missions, and the quiet battles of prejudice back home. He'd faced worse than this, but the sting of being cuffed for nothing burned deep. Officers Brennan and Tate leaned against a desk, joking about their vagrant catch. "Old guy's too calm," Brennan said, tossing Zeke's ID onto a pile of papers. "Probably hiding something." Tate shrugged. "He'll sit till morning. Teach him to wander." They didn't check the ID's details or the duffel's contents, now shoved in an evidence locker. The station phone rang. Desk Sergeant Maria Lopez answered, her face tightening. "Yes, sir." "Understood." She hung up, eyes darting to Brennan and Tate. "FBI's coming. They asked about a veteran named Ezekiel Thompson." Brennan snorted. "FBI? For that guy?" Tate's smirk faded, a flicker of doubt crossing his face. Maria pulled Zeke's ID, scanning it. Her brow furrowed. "This says he's a decorated veteran. Bronze Star, Purple Heart. Why's he in a cell?" Brennan shrugged, defensive. "Looked like trouble." Maria glared. "You didn't run his name?" Before they could answer, the station doors swung open. 2 FBI agents in dark suits strode in, badges gleaming. The lead, Agent Carla Hayes, had a no-nonsense stare. "Where's Ezekiel Thompson?" she demanded. Brennan pointed to the cell, uneasy now. Hayes's eyes narrowed. "You have no idea who you've arrested." The station went quiet. Trouble was brewing fast. The Memphis station's fluorescent lights buzzed as Agent Carla Hayes and her partner, Agent Daniel Wu, stood in the lobby, their presence commanding silence. Hayes, mid-40s, exuded authority, her suit crisp, her gaze piercing. Wu, younger but equally sharp, carried a tablet, already pulling up files. Officers Brennan and Tate exchanged glances, their earlier bravado crumbling. Sergeant Maria Lopez hurried to retrieve Zeke's paperwork, sensing the gravity of the moment. Hayes spoke, voice like steel. You arrested Ezekiel Thompson without cause. Explain. Brennan stammered, he was loitering, looked suspicious. Tate nodded. Had a bag, no clear business being out. Hayes's eyes flicked to the duffel in the evidence locker. Did you check his ID? His record? Silence. Tate shifted uncomfortably. Didn't seem necessary. Wu tapped his tablet. Thompson, Ezekiel. Retired Army Sergeant. Bronze Star, Purple Heart, 20 years of service. Consulted for the Pentagon post-retirement. You booked a national hero. The room froze. Maria gasped softly, clutching Zeke's ID. Brennan's face paled. We didn't know. Hayes stepped closer. You didn't bother to find out. You saw an old black man and assumed the worst. Her words cut deep, unspoken truths hanging heavy. She turned to Maria. Get him out. Now. Maria rushed to the cell, keys jangling. Zeke stood as the door opened, his expression unreadable but dignified. Agent Hayes, he said, nodding. Didn't expect you this soon. Brennan frowned, confused. You know her? Zeke's lips twitched, almost a smile. We've worked together. Hayes motioned to the duffel. Return his belongings. We're not done here. As Maria handed Zeke his bag, the station's phone rang again. Wu answered, his face hardening. It's the chief. He's coming. The stakes just skyrocketed. The Memphis station felt smaller now, the air thick with tension. Ezekiel Thompson stood near the cell door, his duffel bag back in hand, his veteran cap adjusted firmly on his head. Agent Carla Hayes flanked him, her eyes scanning the room like a hawk. Agent Wu hung up the phone, his voice low. Chief Ramsay's 5 minutes out. He's not happy. Officers Brennan and Tate stood frozen, their earlier arrogance replaced by dread. Sergeant Maria Lopez approached Zeke, her voice soft. Sir, I'm sorry. We should have checked your record. Zeke nodded, his gaze steady but kind. Mistakes happen. It's what you do after that counts. His words carried weight, a lesson from a life of resilience. Maria swallowed, nodding back. Hayes turned to Brennan and Tate. You profiled a decorated veteran based on nothing but assumptions. No probable cause, no verification. That's not just sloppy, it's dangerous. Brennan opened his mouth to protest, but Tate cut him off, whispering, Shut up, Kyle. The reality was sinking in. Wu pulled up footage on his tablet from a street camera near Beale Street. Here's Thompson walking. No suspicious behavior. You stopped him. Why? Tate mumbled, the bag looked heavy. Hayes scoffed. It's a flag and flowers for his wife's grave. You didn't even ask. Headlights flashed outside. Chief Ramsay, a burly man with a salt and pepper beard, stormed in, his badge glinting. What the hell happened here? He barked. Hayes stepped forward. Your officers detained Ezekiel Thompson, a man who's briefed presidents, without cause. Ramsay's eyes widened, landing on Zeke. Sergeant Thompson? Zeke nodded. Evening, Chief. Ramsay glared at Brennan and Tate. My office. Now. But before they moved, Zeke spoke, calm but firm. Chief, there's something you need to know. The room held its breath. Chief Ramsay's glare softened as Ezekiel Thompson stepped forward, his presence commanding despite his worn jacket and quiet demeanor. The Memphis station's hum faded, officers, agents, even the janitor paused. Zeke's voice, steady as ever, carried a weight that silenced excuses. Chief, this isn't just about me, he said. It's about what happens when assumption overrides reason. Agent Hayes nodded, her arms crossed, while Agent Wu watched Brennan and Tate squirm. Zeke continued. I was stopped tonight because I looked out of place. No crime, no evidence. Just a hunch. I've faced that my whole life, Vietnam, stateside, doesn't matter. But I'm not the only one. He gestured to the station. How many others get cuffed without a second thought? Brennan shifted, face red. We were doing our job. Zeke's eyes met his, unflinching. Your job is to protect, not prejudge. You didn't check my ID, didn't ask a question. You decided who I was before I spoke. Tate looked away, hands clenched, Chief Ramsay's jaw tightened. Thompson, you've got my attention. What's your point? Zeke reached into his duffel, pulling out a folded letter. This is from a community group I mentor. Kids, veterans, families. They've reported stops like mine, same officers, same excuses. I was testing if it'd happen again. The room stilled. Hayes raised an eyebrow. You set this up? Not to trap, Zeke said. To show what's broken. I called Agent Hayes when you booked me. Ramsay's eyes narrowed at Brennan and Tate. You too, my office. You're done for the night. As they slunk away, Zeke turned to Maria. You questioned it. That's a start. But the real reckoning was coming, and everyone felt it. The Memphis station's air grew heavier as Chief Ramsay led Brennan and Tate toward his office, their footsteps echoing. Ezekiel Thompson stood near Agent Hayes, his duffel bag slung over his shoulder, the folded letter still in hand. Agent Wu typed rapidly on his tablet, pulling up records of prior complaints matching Zeke's claims. Sergeant Maria Lopez lingered nearby, her eyes flickering with guilt and resolve. Hayes turned to Zeke. You've been tracking these stops for months? Zeke nodded. Started after a kid I mentor got hassled. Same officers, same story, looked suspicious. I joined their patrols, saw it myself. Wu interjected, database shows 6 complaints against Brennan and Tate in 3 months. No discipline. Ramsay, overhearing, froze mid-step, his face darkening. He turned back. Thompson, you're saying my officers are targeting people? Zeke's voice stayed calm. Not all. But enough to erode trust. Tonight wasn't personal, it was proof. Maria spoke up, hesitant. I've heard rumors, stops without reports. I should have said something. Zeke met her gaze. You're saying it now. Ramsay clenched his fists. Why didn't you come to me? Zeke's eyes softened. Would you have listened without evidence? I'm an old black veteran, Chief. My word alone doesn't always carry. The truth stung, and Ramsay's silence spoke volumes. Hayes stepped in. FBI's opening an inquiry. We'll audit this station's stop records. Wu added, community groups letter names Brennan and Tate specifically. We're pulling body cam footage. Brennan, overhearing from the office doorway, paled. Tate muttered, we're screwed. Zeke addressed the room. This isn't about punishment. It's about accountability. Fix it, or it festers. Ramsay nodded slowly. You've got my word, Sergeant. But as Zeke adjusted his cap, a new sound approached, sirens. Something bigger was unfolding outside. Sirens wailed outside the Memphis station, red and blue lights flashing through the windows. Ezekiel Thompson paused, his veteran cap tilted slightly, as Agent Hayes and Agent Wu exchanged glances. Chief Ramsay, still reeling from Zeke's revelations, strode to the door. What now? He growled. Sergeant Maria Lopez peered out, her voice tense. News vans. Channel 5, Channel 12. They're setting up. Zeke's eyes narrowed, but he stayed calm, gripping his duffel. Hayes leaned in. You tipped them? Zeke shook his head. Not me. The community group. They've been waiting for a moment like this. Wu checked his tablet. Post from Memphis Justice Watch went viral 20 minutes ago. Mentions a veteran's wrongful arrest. Hashtags trending. Outside, reporters swarmed, cameras rolling. A young woman with a megaphone, Lila, from Zeke's mentorship group, chanted, "No justice, no peace." The crowd grew, holding signs, "Stop profiling vets." Ramsay cursed under his breath. This is a PR nightmare. Brennan and Tate, still in the office, peeked out, faces ashen. Zeke stepped toward the door. "Let me talk to them." Ramsay hesitated. "You sure? Could get messy." Zeke's voice was firm. "They're my people. They deserve the truth." Hayes nodded. "He's right. Transparency's your only play." Maria opened the door, and Zeke walked out, the crowd quieting as they recognized him. "Friends," Zeke began, voice steady, "tonight wasn't about me. It's about every person stopped without cause." Lila handed him the megaphone. "We're listening, Sergeant." Cameras zoomed in. Inside, Brennan whispered, "He's gonna bury us." Tate shushed him, eyes glued to Zeke. As Zeke spoke, a black SUV pulled up. A man in a suit stepped out, FBI Director's envoy. The stakes were climbing higher, the Memphis station's doors stayed open, the crowd's murmurs blending with the hum of news cameras. Ezekiel Thompson stood tall, megaphone in hand, his Vietnam veteran cap a quiet emblem of authority. "This station's not the enemy," he told the crowd, "but bad habits are. We need accountability, not anger." Lila, from the community group, nodded, her sign lowered. Reporters scribbled furiously. Inside, Chief Ramsay watched, torn between relief and dread. Agent Hayes and Wu stood by Zeke, their presence a silent endorsement. Sergeant Maria Lopez whispered to a colleague, "He's turning this around." But Brennan and Tate, still in the office, slumped, knowing their careers hung by a thread. The black SUV's door opened, and a man in a tailored suit stepped out, Malcolm Reed, FBI Director's envoy. His sharp eyes scanned the scene, landing on Zeke. The crowd parted as he approached. "Sergeant Thompson," Reed said, voice low but firm. "You've stirred quite the storm." Zeke handed Lila the megaphone. "Just shining light, sir." Reed turned to Ramsay. "Your station's under federal review. Expect oversight." Ramsay nodded, jaw tight. Hayes added, "We've got enough for suspensions, Brennan and Tate, minimum." Brennan overheard, his face crumpling. Tate muttered, "We just followed protocol." Wu shot back, "Your protocol's the problem." Zeke addressed Reed. "This isn't about one night. It's about patterns. My group's got names, dates, stories." Reed's expression softened. "We'll hear them. You have my word." The crowd cheered, sensing progress. Lila hugged Zeke, tears in her eyes, but Zeke wasn't done. He turned to the cameras. "This fight's bigger than me. It's for every veteran, every kid, every voice ignored." As he spoke, Maria stepped outside, badge gleaming. She had a choice to make. The Memphis night buzzed with energy, news cameras capturing Ezekiel Thompson's words as the crowd hung on his every syllable. His veteran cap cast a shadow under the streetlights, a symbol of resilience. Agent Hayes and Wu stood nearby, coordinating with Malcolm Reed, the FBI envoy, who was already on the phone with D.C. Chief Ramsay. Watched from the station steps, his authority shaken but his resolve hardening. Sergeant Maria Lopez, badge glinting, stepped forward, her heart pounding. She'd stayed quiet too long, haunted by the times she'd ignored rumors of wrongful stops. Zeke's courage stirred something in her. She approached him, voice steady. "Sergeant Thompson, I need to speak." The crowd quieted, cameras swiveling. Maria faced the reporters. "I've worked this station 12 years. I've seen good officers and bad calls. Tonight, I saw a hero treated like a criminal. I didn't act fast enough, and I'm sorry." Her eyes met Zeke's. He nodded, a flicker of pride in his gaze. "I've heard complaints about profiling, same names, same excuses. I should have pushed harder. Lila, from the community group, clapped, sparking a ripple of applause. Ramsay stepped closer, his voice gruff. Lopez, you sure about this? Maria nodded. It's time, Chief. Reed raised an eyebrow, impressed. We'll need your statement for the review. Inside, Brennan and Tate watched, their futures unraveling. Tate whispered, she's throwing us under. Brennan shook his head. We did this ourselves. Zeke took Maria's hand. You're doing what's right. That's enough. But the crowd's cheers grew louder as Lila raised a new sign, Justice for All. Zeke turned to Reed. What's next? Reed's eyes narrowed. A reckoning. For this station and beyond. The night wasn't over yet, the Memphis station glowed under dawn's first light, the crowd thinning but cameras still rolling. Ezekiel Thompson stood with Lila, his duffel bag at his feet, veteran cap tilted proudly. Agent Hayes and Wu finalized notes with Malcolm Reed, the FBI envoy, whose SUV idled nearby. Chief Ramsay, humbled, addressed reporters. We'll cooperate fully with the FBI. Changes start today. Sergeant Maria Lopez stood beside Zeke, her public stand cementing her resolve. She'd agreed to lead sensitivity training, vowing to rebuild trust. Zeke smiled faintly. You've got heart, Lopez. That's where it begins. Lila handed him a community group flyer. You gave us a voice, Sergeant. We're not stopping. Inside, Brennan and Tate faced suspension, their badges on Ramsay's desk. Tate muttered, we didn't know who he was. Ramsay snapped, that's the point. You don't get to choose who deserves respect. The FBI's review loomed, promising deeper reforms. Reed approached Zeke. Your evidence, complaints, footage, kickstarts a federal audit. Stations nationwide will feel this. Zeke nodded. Good. It's not about me. It's about the next kid stopped for nothing. Hayes added, you've got allies now. Call us. Zeke's eyes twinkled. I know the number. As the crowd dispersed, a reporter asked Zeke, what's next? He paused, looking at the sunrise. Keep teaching, veterans, kids, anyone listening. Respect's earned by giving it. The cameras caught his words, already trending on X. Zeke walked down Beale Street, duffel slung over his shoulder, the blues bars quiet now. He didn't need fanfare, just purpose. Leadership, he knew, wasn't about badges or titles, it was about standing up when no one else would. If this story moved you, subscribe for more real-world tales of courage, justice, and the fight for what's right.